The vibrant city of Austin, Texas, was alive with energy as the annual urban festival drew crowds from every corner. The streets were a tapestry of color and sound, with the aroma of sizzling street food hanging in the air, mingling with the rhythmic beats of live music that seemed to echo through every alley. The festival was in full swing, with laughter and chatter enveloping the scene like a warm blanket, and the sun cast a golden glow over the festivities. Amidst this lively atmosphere, an unexpected turn of events was about to unfold, leaving a lasting impression on everyone present. The festival was not just a celebration, but a confluence of stories, each with its unique flavor, yet none as surprising as the one that was about to take center stage. As the crowd moved like a gentle tide, a motorbike suddenly roared to life, its engine growling with a ferocity that sliced through the harmonious ambience. The bike, a sleek machine with chrome glistening under the sun, had caught everyone's attention. It was meant to be a part of the festival's entertainment lineup, a display of daring stunts and skillful maneuvers. However, in a matter of seconds, the spectacle took an alarming turn. The motorbike, piloted by a young daredevil known for his audacious stunts, veered off course. The rider, Tommy Parker, was known to push boundaries, his reputation for recklessness preceding him. But this was different. The bike seemed to have a mind of its own, careening towards the unsuspecting crowd with a speed that made hearts skip a beat. Gasps echoed through the air as festival-goers turned to see the machine barreling towards them. Panic rippled through the throng, transforming the once joyous gathering into a scene of chaos. People scrambled, their faces etched with fear as they tried to get out of harm's way. The joyous music faded into a background hum, overtaken by the cries of alarm and the revving engine that seemed to grow louder with each passing second. In the midst of this turmoil, the camera shifts focus to a man standing a little distance from the impending disaster. Jesus Martinez, a humble mechanic with a heart as big as his reputation, was attending the festival with his family. Known for his generosity and kind spirit, Jesus was the kind of man who would stop at nothing to help those in need. His family, too, shared this ethos, their lives centered around compassion and community. Jesus' eyes widened as he took in the scene unfolding before him. He was a man of action, someone who trusted his instincts, and in that moment, those instincts told him he had to do something. The memory of a past incident flashed through his mind, a moment when he couldn't save someone, a lingering shadow that haunted him. But today, he was determined to act differently. He didn't hesitate. Pushing his family to the side, away from danger, he surged forward, driven by an unyielding desire to prevent a tragedy. The motorbike drew closer, its path seemingly inevitable, yet Jesus moved with purpose, his heart pounding in his chest. As the scene hung on a knife's edge, the viewers are left at the precipice of the story, the outcome uncertain. This was more than just a festival. It was a moment that would test courage and resolve, a moment that demanded every ounce of strength and will. For those captivated by this unfolding drama, the story was only beginning. Before we delve into how this miraculous event unfurled, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you ensure you won't miss out on the continuation of this incredible tale and many more like it. Stay with us as we unravel the remarkable story of how one man's bravery became the highlight of a day meant for celebration. In the vibrant heart of Austin, Texas, the festival was alive with the electric pulse of excitement. The streets were a tapestry of color, thrumming with the beat of live music, as laughter and chatter mingled with the scent of street food wafting through the air. Among the throng of festival-goers was Jesus Martinez, a man whose presence was as unassuming as it was impactful. Jesus, a humble mechanic, had a reputation that extended far beyond his skill with engines. Known for his generous spirit and his unwavering dedication to helping others, he was a quiet hero to those who knew him. Today he was simply a father and husband, attending the festival with his family, relishing the rare moments of leisure away from his bustling garage. Beside him, Maria Martinez, his wife, navigated the crowd with a grace that belied her profession as a nurse. Her warmth was palpable, a beacon of comfort and wisdom that drew people to her. Maria had a knack for understanding people, a skill honed over years of caring for patients in their most vulnerable moments. Her laughter was infectious, and together with Jesus, they formed a partnership that was as solid as it was enviable. Their children darted through the crowd with the exuberance of youth, their laughter ringing like bells amidst the festival's cacophony. Nearby, another figure moved with a different kind of energy. Tommy Parker, the young daredevil whose reputation for reckless stunts preceded him, was a familiar face at events like this. His bravado was matched only by his skill, and while his antics often drew gasps of awe and admiration, they also elicited concern from those who understood the risks he so casually shrugged off. Today, Tommy was part of the festival entertainment, performing hair-raising stunts on his motorbike, each jump and spin calculated to thrill and terrify in equal measure. As the festival unfolded, the paths of these individuals, so different in their nature and purpose, were on a collision course. The harmony of the day was suddenly shattered by the roar of an engine gone awry. In an instant, the festive atmosphere turned to chaos as Tommy's motorbike veered off its path, a mechanical beast suddenly untamed, heading directly toward the unsuspecting crowd. Panic rippled through the throng as people scrambled to evade the oncoming danger, a wave of fear washing over the vibrant tapestry of the festival. Jesus, amidst the unfolding chaos, felt the world slow around him. His instincts, honed through years of reacting to the unpredictable nature of machines, kicked in. He moved with a purpose, pushing Maria and their children to safety, his mind a whirl of action and dread. The memory of a past incident, where he had been unable to prevent a similar disaster, loomed large in his thoughts, a shadow he had long struggled to escape. The fear of history repeating itself propelled him forward, driven by a need to protect, to prevent another tragedy from unfolding before his eyes. Maria, ever the professional, quickly assessed the situation. Her training as a nurse surged to the forefront, and she began coordinating with festival medics. Her focus split between her family's safety and the potential for injuries among the crowd. Her calm demeanor was a stark contrast to the rising panic that threatened to engulf those around her. Meanwhile, Tommy, perched atop the uncontrollable beast of a bike, felt his heart pound in his chest like a drum. In that split second, the weight of his actions came crashing down upon him. The thrill-seeker, often cavalier about the risks he took, realized the gravity of the situation. Desperately, he fought to regain control, his hands gripping the handlebars with a white-knuckled intensity, his mind racing to find a solution, a way to avert the impending disaster. As the motorbike hurtled forward, the stage was set for a confrontation that would test the limits of courage and the power of instinct. The crowd, caught in the grip of fear and anticipation, watched with bated breath, unaware that they were about to witness an act that would defy explanation and resonate with them long after the festival had ended. The festival was alive with vibrant colors and sounds, the kind of bustling energy that makes you feel like anything could happen. The streets of Austin were packed with people enjoying the sun-drenched day, their laughter mingling with the strains of live music that wafted through the air. Food stalls lined the streets, the enticing aroma of sizzling meats and spices creating an intoxicating blend. Amidst this lively atmosphere, Jesus Martinez walked hand in hand with his wife Maria, their children a few steps ahead, eagerly eyeing the cotton candy stand. Without warning, a loud roar erupted, drowning out the festival's cheerful clamor. A motorbike, driven by the young and reckless Tommy Parker, tore down the street. It was supposed to be part of the day's entertainment, a display of daring stunts and skill, but something had gone terribly wrong. The bike wobbled violently, its trajectory no longer in Tommy's control. Panic seized the crowd as people screamed and scrambled to get out of the way, a wave of chaos rippling through the streets. Jesus' heart pounded in his chest as he saw the bike heading straight for them. Instinct took over. "Maria, get the kids," he shouted, his voice cutting through the cacophony. He pushed his family to the side, ensuring their safety first. The world seemed to slow down around him. The festival's joyous noise faded, replaced by the frantic cries of those trying to escape the bike's path. In that instant, Jesus' mind flashed back to a haunting memory from years ago. He had been at the scene of another accident, one where he couldn't save a life. That helplessness had stayed with him, a shadow he couldn't quite shake. Now, faced with another life-or-death moment, he felt that same gut-wrenching fear begin to claw at him. But there was no time to dwell on past failures. The motorbike was out of control, its engine roaring like an angry beast. The crowd's panic grew, a palpable force that seemed to thicken the air. Jesus glanced around, seeing the fear etched on the faces of those around him. He had to act. He couldn't let this become another memory that haunted him. Nearby, Maria was doing her part, her nursing instincts kicking in as she coordinated with festival medics, preparing for the worst. Her calm and collected demeanor was a stark contrast to the chaos surrounding them. She was a rock amidst the storm, organizing a makeshift triage area, ready for any injuries that might occur. Meanwhile, Tommy, the young rider, was battling with the bike, his face a mask of desperation. He was no longer the confident daredevil who had started the day with such bravado. Realizing the gravity of the situation, he fought to regain control, his knuckles white from gripping the handlebars. But the bike was unyielding, its path unpredictable. Jesus' heart raced as he made a split-second decision. He knew he couldn't let the bike continue its destructive path. He had to intervene, to stop it before it could claim any victims. The fear from his past still lingered, but it was overshadowed by a stronger force, determination. This was his chance to do what he hadn't been able to do before. He had to save those in harm's way. With a deep breath, Jesus sprinted forward, weaving through the scattering crowd. His eyes locked on the motorbike. He could almost feel the heat of its engine, the raw power it exuded as it barreled toward him. Around him, the festival faded, leaving only him and the bike in focus. He couldn't fail. Not this time. The screech of tires filled the air, a sound that seemed to echo in his ears, amplifying the urgency of the moment. The crowd's collective gasp was a backdrop to his racing thoughts. As he closed the distance, adrenaline surged through his veins, propelling him forward, determined to stop the impending disaster before it was too late. The moment the motorbike swerved off its path, the festival's vibrant energy shifted into panic. People were screaming, scattering in all directions, their faces painted with fear. Jesus Martinez, standing among the throng with his family, felt his heart plummet. Instinctively, he pushed Maria and their children to safety. As the chaos unfolded around him, a memory surged to the forefront of his mind, sharp and unyielding. Years ago, in a similar situation, he had been unable to save a young boy. That incident had haunted him ever since, a shadow lurking just behind his every step, threatening to overwhelm him with guilt and regret. The crowd's panic was palpable, an almost tangible force that threatened to drown out any rational thought. People were bumping into each other, desperate to escape the looming threat of the motorbike. The air was thick with the acrid scent of fear and exhaust, mingling with the festival's once pleasant aromas. Jesus' mind raced, caught between the past and the urgent present. His heart pounded, the sound echoing in his ears louder than the terrified screams around him. In the midst of the pandemonium, he felt a familiar tug of helplessness. How could he possibly make a difference in this chaos? Yet something inside him refused to yield. He had promised himself never to be a bystander again, never to let another moment slip away where he could have acted. The internal conflict was fierce, a battle between the shadows of his past and the man he wanted to be. Despite the fear gripping him, Jesus' resolve hardened. He scanned the crowd, his eyes darting between the people and the runaway motorbike. The machine, out of control, was a dark blur against the bright lights of the festival. His thoughts were a whirlwind, but amidst the chaos a single clear thought emerged. He had to act. Around him, the crowd's panic only grew, escalating with each passing second. People were shouting, their voices blending into a cacophony of desperation. Jesus felt a surge of determination. He couldn't let history repeat itself. The path to the motorbike was fraught with obstacles, human and otherwise. He pushed forward, each step a struggle against the tide of panicked festival-goers. As he fought his way through the crowd, he caught sight of Maria. Even in the confusion, she was a beacon of calm, coordinating with festival medics. Her presence was a balm to his frayed nerves, a reminder of the strength they shared. It was a brief moment of solace before he refocused on his task. Nearby, Tommy Parker, the young daredevil, was grappling with his own demons. The realization of the potential consequences of his actions hit him with the force of a tidal wave. He was desperately trying to regain control of the motorbike, his face a mask of determination and fear. He yelled out warnings, his voice straining to be heard over the din. But the motorbike, a beast unleashed, seemed beyond his grasp. The scene was a maelstrom of movement and noise. Jesus pushed through, each footstep a battle against the current of retreating festival-goers. His heart was a drumbeat in his chest, relentless and unyielding. Every muscle in his body was tense, ready to spring into action, to intervene where he once couldn't. The internal conflict that had plagued him for so long transformed into a driving force. He was no longer the man haunted by his inability to act. He was the man determined to make a difference. The crowd's panic was a storm, but Jesus was the eye, moving with purpose and clarity towards the unfolding disaster. Every step he took was a defiance of the shadows of his past, a testament to his resolve to change the narrative. As he neared the motorbike, the noise of the festival faded into the background. The echoes of a past failure were replaced by a singular focus. He would not stand by and watch as another tragedy unfolded. The time for action was now, and Jesus was ready to meet it head-on. Maria stood amidst the vibrant chaos of the festival, her senses sharpened by the adrenaline coursing through her veins. As a nurse, she was no stranger to emergencies, but the sight of the motorbike careening uncontrollably through the crowd was unlike anything she had ever faced. The cacophony of panicked screams and the mechanical roar of the bike mingled in the air, creating a symphony of impending disaster. Her eyes darted around, assessing the situation with a practiced calm that belied the storm inside her. The festival grounds, once filled with laughter and music, now seemed to vibrate with tension. Booths displaying artisanal crafts and sizzling food vendors blurred into the background as Maria's focus zeroed in on the task at hand. She knew every second counted. Grabbing her phone, she quickly dialed the festival's emergency line, her voice steady and authoritative. "This is Maria Martinez. We need medics near the main stage immediately. There's a motorbike out of control and potential injuries." Meanwhile, Jesus was just a few feet away, his body poised in front of his family like a protective barrier. The memory of a past incident where he had been unable to save a life flashed through his mind, haunting and relentless. He shook his head slightly, as if to dispel the ghosts of his past, focusing instead on the present, on what he could do here and now. His heart pounded with a mix of fear and determination, each beat a reminder of what was at stake. Tommy Parker, the young daredevil at the center of the unfolding chaos, was locked in a desperate struggle of his own. His hands gripped the handlebars with a white-knuckled intensity, his mind racing as fast as the bike beneath him. The world around him seemed to blur, the faces of the crowd morphing into a sea of fearful expressions. He could feel the bike's rebellious spirit beneath him, a wild beast resisting his every command. Panic clawed at him, but deep down, a flicker of resolve began to burn. He had never meant for this to happen. The stunts, the thrill of the ride, they were supposed to be exhilarating, not destructive. As the bike swerved dangerously close to a group of people, Tommy's heart sank. His reputation as a daredevil, once a badge of honor, now felt like a shackle, binding him to a path he hadn't fully understood. Desperation gave way to clarity. He had to regain control, not just of the bike, but of his life. Back in the crowd, Maria was already moving, her training guiding her through the chaos. She spotted a group of festival medics gathering nearby, their expressions a mix of urgency and concern. Maria waved them over, her voice carrying above the din. "We have to be ready. It could get worse before it gets better." "Set up a triage area over there," she instructed, pointing to a relatively open space away from the thickest part of the crowd. The medics nodded, springing into action under her guidance. Maria's calm authority was a beacon amidst the turmoil, her presence a stabilizing force. She glanced back at Jesus, their eyes meeting across the distance. In that brief exchange, a silent understanding passed between them, a promise to protect, to do whatever it took to keep everyone safe. Tommy, meanwhile, was making a Herculean effort to steer the bike away from the densest part of the crowd. Sweat trickled down his brow, his muscles straining against the vibrations of the machine. He could feel the tide of the crowd's panic rising, a palpable energy that threatened to overwhelm him. But he pressed on, fueled by a newfound determination to avert disaster. As the scene unfolded, Maria's mind flickered to thoughts of her children, of their safety, of the world they would inherit. This moment, this crisis, was a reminder of the fragility of life and the strength found in unity and resolve. She knew that, together, they could face whatever came next. With the medics in position and Jesus' protective stance unwavering, Maria took a deep breath. The festival, now a battleground of emotions and actions, had become a testament to the human spirit's resilience. She could feel the pulse of the crowd, a shared heartbeat of hope and fear, and in that connection found strength. As the motorbike continued its erratic path, a sense of anticipation hung in the air, a collective breath held in unison. The festival grounds were a vibrant tapestry of colors and sounds, with laughter and music weaving through the air like a living symphony. People, young and old, wandered between stalls, indulging in the delights of an Austin afternoon. Yet amid the joyous chaos, an undercurrent of tension began to ripple through the crowd. The motorbike, an unruly beast of metal and speed, had become a rogue element, its trajectory unpredictable and dangerous. Jesus Martinez watched the scene unfold with a mix of fear and determination. The bike's engine roared, a beast unleashed, and it was heading directly toward a group of children who stood frozen, captivated by the festival's magic, unaware of the imminent danger. Jesus' heart pounded in his chest, each beat a reminder of the stakes. He couldn't let history repeat itself. Memories of a past failure haunted him, a moment when he had been powerless to prevent tragedy. But today had to be different. The crowd was a sea of frenzied motion, parents pulling their children away, vendors shouting warnings, and festival-goers scattering like leaves before a storm. Yet amid the chaos, Jesus found clarity. His family was safe, thanks to his quick instincts, but those children needed him now. Driven by an unyielding sense of duty, he moved forward, each step a testament to his resolve. Maria, his wife, stood nearby, her face a portrait of concern. She had seen the look in Jesus' eyes before, that mix of fear and determination. She knew he would do whatever it took to protect those children. Nearby, Tommy Parker, the young daredevil who had lost control of the bike, was fighting his own battle. Panic etched across his face, he wrestled with the handlebars, desperately trying to avert disaster. But it was a losing battle. Time seemed to stretch, the world narrowing to a single point where destiny and determination would collide. Jesus was close now, close enough to see the fear in the children's eyes, close enough to act. The motorbike's roar was deafening, a mechanical beast that seemed unstoppable. But in that moment, Jesus was more than a man. He was a force of nature driven by a singular purpose. He lunged forward, arms outstretched, his mind a blur of instinct and prayer. The bike barreled toward him, a relentless surge of metal and momentum. In the crowd, breaths were held, hearts stopped, and time slowed. Everything hinged on these next few seconds. Jesus' mind was clear, his focus absolute. He could feel the heat of the engine, the rush of air, but fear had no place here. A gasp rose from the crowd as he reached out, his hands connecting with the bike's front end. It was an impossible moment, one that defied logic and reason. The impact reverberated through his arms, a shockwave of force that threatened to overwhelm him. But Jesus held firm, his grip unyielding. The bike's momentum fought against him, a beast unwilling to be tamed, but Jesus' resolve was stronger. In that moment, something extraordinary happened. The bike's relentless charge faltered, its energy dissipating against an immovable force. Jesus, through sheer will and determination, had stopped it. The screech of tires filled the air, mingling with the crowd's collective gasp. The children, eyes wide with awe and relief, stood unharmed. The danger had passed, but the moment lingered, a testament to the power of human spirit. As the dust settled, the crowd erupted in applause and cheers, their disbelief giving way to gratitude. Some whispered of miracles, others of heroism, but all were united in their awe of what they had witnessed. Jesus stood amidst it all, not as a man who had performed the impossible, but as a father, a husband, and a man who had found redemption in the most unlikely of places. The day was far from over, yet in this moment the world felt new, filled with possibilities and hope. In the heart of the festival, as the motorbike skidded uncontrollably towards the unsuspecting children, time seemed to slow. The once vibrant sounds of music and laughter were swallowed by the impending chaos, replaced by the shrill screech of tires and the collective gasp of the crowd. Jesus Martinez, standing at the edge of the unfolding scene, felt a surge of adrenaline course through his veins. His heart pounded like a relentless drum, each beat echoing the urgency of the moment. The world around him blurred into a cacophony of panicked voices, shouts for help, and the unmistakable smell of burning rubber. Yet, amid the turmoil, Jesus' focus was razor-sharp. Memories of a past failure, a haunting specter that had shadowed him for years, threatened to paralyze him with fear. But this time he was determined not to be a passive bystander. He would not let history repeat itself. With a single resolute motion, Jesus stepped forward, his eyes locked onto the careening bike. The machine, a beast of metal and speed, seemed unstoppable. But driven by an unyielding determination, Jesus reached out, his hands extending as if to embrace the very danger before him. The sight was almost surreal, a man standing in the face of imminent disaster, his stance firm and unwavering. As the bike drew closer, the crowd held its collective breath, suspended in a moment of disbelief and awe. Could a mere man stop such a force? The question hung in the air, heavy with anticipation. Jesus' hands connected with the bike, and for a heartbeat, it was as if time itself paused. The bike's momentum, a force of nature, met the immovable will of a man driven by a singular purpose. The impact was both a physical and a spiritual clash. The screeching tires cried out, a wild symphony of noise and friction. The audience, frozen in their tracks, watched with wide eyes as Jesus exerted every ounce of strength he possessed. He could feel the raw power of the machine, the vibrations coursing through his bones, yet there was something unexplainable at work. It was as if an unseen force had joined him, lending an inexplicable strength to his efforts. The motorbike, once a renegade force of chaos, began to yield. Its forward charge faltered, and the wild spinning of wheels found resistance. Slowly, almost reluctantly, it came to a shuddering halt mere inches from the children, who stood transfixed, their eyes filled with a mixture of fear and wonder. A hushed silence enveloped the scene, the air thick with disbelief and the remnants of adrenaline. Jesus stood there, his hands still on the bike, his breath ragged but his spirit unbroken. Around him, the festival-goers erupted into spontaneous applause and cheers, their voices a jubilant celebration of what they had just witnessed. The crowd surged forward, encircling Jesus and the bike, their faces alight with amazement and gratitude. Whispers of a miracle spread like wildfire, each retelling adding layers of admiration and reverence. People reached out to touch Jesus' shoulder, to thank him for his bravery, for the saving grace he had provided in a moment of dire need. Among the throng, a few stepped back, capturing the scene on their phones, eager to share this extraordinary event with the world. The air buzzed with excitement. The tension of moments earlier now transformed into a communal celebration of life and hope. As Jesus stood amidst the crowd, his eyes met those of the children he had saved. In their gaze he saw the reflection of his own past, the echoes of a pain that had driven him to act. Yet now, there was also a glimmer of healing, a sense of redemption that began to unfurl within him. The festival, which had teetered on the brink of tragedy, resumed with renewed energy. The music picked up once more, its vibrant notes weaving through the air, a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, the story of Jesus Martinez began to take on a life of its own, destined to become a legend in its own right. In the aftermath of the miraculous event, the crowd stood in stunned silence, the air thick with disbelief and awe. People exchanged glances, their eyes wide with the astonishment of what they had just witnessed. Whispers rippled through the crowd like a gentle breeze, carrying words like miracle and unbelievable from one person to another. Jesus stood at the center of this attention, his heart pounding in his chest, still trying to process the enormity of what had just transpired. A few feet away, Maria watched her husband with a mixture of pride and relief. Her hands were clasped over her mouth, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. She felt a profound sense of gratitude that her family was safe and that Jesus had emerged unscathed from such a dangerous situation. She took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart, while the realization that they had narrowly avoided a tragedy settled over her like a protective blanket. Nearby, a group of children who had been in the bike's path looked at Jesus with wide, admiring eyes. One of them, a little girl with pigtails and freckles, tugged on her mother's sleeve and pointed at Jesus. "Mom, is he a superhero?" she asked in a voice full of wonder. Her mother chuckled softly, wiping away tears of relief, and nodded. "In a way, yes, he is." Tommy, the motorbike rider, had managed to bring the bike to a halt after it had miraculously stopped in its tracks. He was still sitting on it, his hands trembling as he struggled to comprehend how he had avoided a catastrophic accident. He looked over at Jesus, who had somehow, impossibly, intervened. A wave of gratitude washed over him, mingling with guilt and shame for the reckless stunt that had nearly caused disaster. He dismounted the bike shakily and walked over to Jesus, his expression a mix of contrition and admiration. I'm so sorry," Tommy stammered, his voice barely audible over the murmur of the crowd. "I don't know how you did it, but thank you. You saved us all." Jesus looked at him, his eyes softening. He placed a reassuring hand on Tommy's shoulder, sensing the young man's remorse and the internal turmoil he was experiencing. "We all make mistakes," Jesus said gently, his voice carrying the weight of forgiveness and understanding. "What's important is that we learn from them." The crowd began to move closer, people eager to express their gratitude and amazement. A young man with a camera slung around his neck started snapping photos, capturing the raw emotion of the moment. Others pulled out their phones, capturing videos and sharing them with friends and family, eager to spread the tale of the day's events. The atmosphere was charged with a newfound reverence for the extraordinary, the impossible made real. As people approached Jesus, they peppered him with questions, their voices overlapping in a chorus of curiosity and admiration. "How did you do it? Were you scared? Did you know what was going to happen?" Jesus, ever humble, simply shook his head and smiled, his modesty shining through. "I just did what anyone would do," he replied, his words infused with sincerity. "I didn't think. I just acted." In that moment the festival transformed. What had begun as a day of celebration and revelry had turned into a testament to courage and compassion. Strangers became friends, united by the shared experience of witnessing something remarkable. The crowd slowly began to disperse, but not before many took the time to shake Jesus' hand, expressing their gratitude and awe. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, Maria joined Jesus, wrapping her arm around his waist. They stood together watching as the festival gradually resumed its lively rhythm, the music and laughter once again filling the air. Yet, beneath the surface, there lingered a deeper understanding of the fragility and preciousness of life, a reminder of how quickly things could change and how, sometimes, miracles happened when they were least expected. As the dust settled and the echoes of the miraculous event began to fade, the festival-goers slowly regained their composure. The atmosphere, once thick with panic and disbelief, now brimmed with a palpable sense of relief and astonishment. People whispered to one another, their eyes darting between Jesus and Tommy, who stood at the center of this newfound calm. The two men exchanged a look, a silent acknowledgement of the incredible events that had unfolded. Jesus, his heart still racing from the adrenaline, found himself standing face to face with Tommy. The young daredevil, usually brimming with bravado, appeared shaken, his eyes wide with a mix of fear and gratitude. "I don't know how to thank you," Tommy stammered, his voice barely above a whisper. His hands trembled slightly as he reached out, a gesture of reconciliation and appreciation. Jesus clasped Tommy's hand firmly, his grip steady and reassuring. "Just glad you're okay," Jesus replied, his voice carrying the weight of genuine relief, "and that nobody got hurt." Around them, the crowd began to disperse, the festival slowly returning to its vibrant rhythm. The music resumed, albeit with a slightly more subdued energy, as if the very soul of the event had taken a collective deep breath. Vendors called out to passers-by, offering their wares with renewed enthusiasm, and the laughter of children, once on the brink of being silenced by tragedy, rang out once more. Maria, ever the pillar of strength and composure, approached the two men, her presence warm and calming. Her eyes, filled with a mixture of pride and love, met Jesus's. "You did good, mi amor," she stated softly, her words wrapping around him like a comforting embrace. Jesus nodded, a small smile playing on his lips as he drew her close. "Couldn't have done it without you keeping everyone calm," he replied, acknowledging her crucial role in the unfolding drama. Tommy stood awkwardly by, his usual cocky demeanor replaced by a newfound humility. "I never meant for any of this to happen," he confessed, his voice tinged with regret. "I just got carried away." Maria gave him a forgiving smile, her expression maternal and understanding. "We all make mistakes," she offered. "What matters is what you do next." The festival-goers, many of whom had gathered around to witness the aftermath of the miracle, began to share their own stories of what they'd seen. Some spoke of divine intervention, while others marveled at the sheer luck of it all. Yet amid the chatter and speculation, a common thread of gratitude and community spirit emerged, weaving its way through the crowd. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a golden glow over the festival grounds, Jesus and Tommy found themselves surrounded by a small throng of well-wishers. Strangers approached with pats on the back and words of thanks, their faces alight with admiration. It was a moment of pure human connection, born out of chaos and crisis, yet shining with an undeniable beauty. The day, which had threatened to end in disaster, instead transformed into a celebration of resilience and unity. Jesus, feeling the weight of his past slowly lift from his shoulders, allowed himself a moment of quiet reflection. The experience had brought him a sense of closure, a chance to rewrite a narrative that had haunted him for too long. For Tommy, the day marked a turning point. The reckless streak that had driven him into countless dangerous situations now seemed less appealing. There was a new determination in his heart, a desire to channel his skills and energy into something positive, something that wouldn't endanger himself or others. As the festival continued into the evening, with its lights twinkling against the encroaching darkness, Jesus, Maria, and Tommy stood together, a trio bound by an extraordinary event. The air was filled with a spirit of gratitude, echoing in the laughter and music that drifted across the festival grounds. It was a day none of them would soon forget, a day that would be recounted and remembered as a testament to the power of courage, compassion, and community. The festival had resumed its vibrant energy, yet a subtle change lingered in the atmosphere. The sky, now painted with hues of orange and pink as the sun began its descent, cast a golden glow over the crowd. The air, once tense, now carried a sense of relief and introspection. Jesus stood amidst this scene, his mind a whirl of emotions. The roar of the motorbike still echoed in his ears, but louder than anything was the silence that followed the miraculous moment. It was as if time had paused, allowing him to reflect on everything that had transpired. As he surveyed the festival grounds, Jesus couldn't help but notice the expressions of awe and gratitude on the faces of those around him. People who had witnessed the event were speaking in hushed tones, their eyes occasionally darting towards him. Yet amidst this external acknowledgement, Jesus found himself turning inward. Memories of a similar incident from his past bubbled to the surface, images of a time when he hadn't been able to make a difference. That day had haunted him, a shadow that followed him despite his best efforts to outrun it. But today something had shifted. Maria approached, her presence a comforting anchor. Her eyes, warm and understanding, met his. She didn't need to say anything. Her presence was enough to convey her support. Yet, words did come, gentle and soothing. "You did it, Jesus. You saved them," she said, her voice a balm to his troubled thoughts. He nodded, a slow smile spreading across his face, though it was tinged with the weight of his reflections. Nearby, Tommy stood with his head bowed, a mix of shame and gratitude evident in his posture. The young rider looked up, catching Jesus's gaze. The two men, bound by the unexpected twist of fate, shared a moment of silent communication. For Tommy, the reckless thrill that had once driven him seemed hollow now. The gravity of his actions had been starkly illuminated by the day's events. Approaching Jesus, he extended a hand, his voice steady but filled with sincerity. "I'm sorry," Tommy said, his eyes earnest. "I want to change. I need to be better than this." Jesus clasped Tommy's hand firmly. "We've all got our paths to walk," he replied, his voice imbued with understanding and hope. "What matters is learning and moving forward." This exchange, brief yet profound, marked a turning point for both men. For Jesus, it was a release, a letting go of past burdens that had weighed him down. For Tommy, it was the first step towards redemption, a recognition of the responsibility that came with his actions. As the two men parted, the festival's vibrant energy continued to pulse around them, a reminder of life's resilience. Children laughed and played, vendors called out their wares, and music once again floated through the air. The incident, though dramatic, had not dampened the spirit of the day. Instead, it had infused it with a deeper appreciation for the moments that truly mattered. Jesus and Maria walked hand in hand, their hearts full. The conversation between them flowed naturally, a shared reflection on the day's extraordinary events. "It's amazing what one moment can do," Maria mused, her eyes scanning the crowd with a sense of wonder. "It reminds us of the power we have just by being there for one another." Jesus nodded, her words resonating deeply within him. "Yeah," he agreed. "It's about community, about caring enough to step in when it matters." Their path took them past groups of people chatting animatedly, some still recounting the story of the motorbike and the man who had seemingly stopped it with his hands. It had become more than just an event. It was a symbol of hope, a testament to courage and quick thinking. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the festival in a warm twilight, Jesus felt a profound sense of peace. The past was behind him, and the future, though unknown, felt promising. The day had been transformative, not just for him, but for everyone who had witnessed the power of an ordinary man stepping up in an extraordinary moment. As the sun began to set over the bustling city of Austin, Texas, the festival grounds were alive with vibrant energy. The day's events had left everyone with a sense of awe, as if they'd just witnessed something truly extraordinary. Maria and Jesus Martinez found a quiet spot away from the remaining crowds, their hearts still racing from the events that had unfolded. The air was still filled with the echo of distant music and the aroma of food trucks packing up for the night. Maria looked at Jesus, her eyes reflecting a mix of admiration and concern. "I still can't believe what happened today," she said softly, her voice barely rising above the gentle hum of the evening breeze. "It felt like a dream, didn't it?" Jesus nodded, his mind replaying the moment over and over again, the sound of the motorbike, the chaos of the crowd, and the miraculous stillness that followed his intervention. "I just reacted," he replied, his voice tinged with humility. "It was like something else took over. I didn't think, I just did." Maria placed a reassuring hand on his arm, the warmth of her touch grounding him. "You did something incredible, Jesus. You saved lives today, and in a way you saved yourself too." Her words struck a chord deep within him. The burden of his past had often felt like a shadow, always lingering just out of sight. But today, something had shifted. For the first time in years, he felt a sense of peace, as if the chains of that old guilt had finally been broken. "Maybe you're right," he admitted, casting a reflective gaze toward the horizon, where the last traces of sunlight were fading into twilight. "Maybe today was about more than just stopping a bike. Maybe it was about letting go of what I've been holding on to for too long." Maria smiled, her eyes filled with a wisdom that always seemed beyond her years. "It's about moving forward, Jesus." And maybe it's about showing others that no matter how reckless or lost someone might feel, there's always a chance to find a new path. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching as the festival lights began to dim one by one. The crowd had thinned, and the city's skyline was now a silhouette against the deepening night. The noise of the festival was gradually replaced by the rhythmic chirping of evening crickets, adding an almost serene quality to the moment. Jesus turned to Maria, gratitude shining in his eyes. "I'm glad you were there today," he said earnestly. "Having you by my side made all the difference." Maria chuckled softly. "I wouldn't have been anywhere else. Besides, someone had to make sure you didn't get carried away with your newfound superpowers." They both laughed, the sound mingling with the night air, dispelling the last remnants of tension. It was a laugh filled with relief and the shared understanding of what truly mattered. As they prepared to leave, Jesus felt a sense of hope he hadn't experienced in years. The day's events had shown him the strength of community and the power of compassion, lessons that he knew would stay with him long after the festival had ended. Walking hand in hand, they made their way back to the car, leaving the festival grounds behind, but carrying the memory of the day with them. They knew that the story of what happened would become a part of local lore, a tale of courage and kindness that would inspire many. And as they drove away, the city lights twinkling in the distance, Maria spoke one last time. "Today was a reminder, Jesus, that even in the midst of chaos there are moments of grace." Jesus nodded, his heart full. "Yes, it was. And I think it will remind us all of what's possible when we look out for each other." With those final words, they headed home, the road ahead illuminated by the soft glow of the streetlights, a path that seemed a little brighter now, a little more hopeful. As the story of the miraculous event spread throughout the city, it seemed to take on a life of its own. Conversations buzzed in coffee shops, on public transport, and in the corridors of workplaces. People whispered and marveled at how a seemingly ordinary day had turned into something extraordinary. The festival, initially a gathering for food, music, and community, had transformed into a narrative of hope and courage. The tale of Jesus Martinez stopping a runaway motorbike with his bare hands became a beacon of inspiration for everyone who heard it. In homes across the city, families sat down at dinner tables, recounting the incredible feat to one another. Parents told their children about the heroism displayed that day, using it as a lesson in bravery and quick thinking. Meanwhile, in schools, teachers incorporated the story into their lessons, asking students to reflect on what courage and compassion meant to them. The story became a catalyst for deeper conversations about community and the power of individuals to make a difference, no matter how dire the circumstances. Local news outlets picked up the story, interviewing witnesses and those involved in the incident. Jesus Martinez, though overwhelmed by the attention, humbly recounted his experience. He emphasized that he acted not out of a desire for recognition, but from an instinctive need to protect those around him. His humility resonated with viewers, further endearing him to the public. Jesus became somewhat of a local hero, his actions serving as a reminder of the extraordinary potential within ordinary people. Tommy Parker, the young daredevil whose bike had caused the chaos, also found himself in the spotlight. His initial embarrassment and regret gradually shifted to gratitude as he publicly acknowledged Jesus' courage. He spoke candidly about his recklessness and vowed to change his ways, recognizing the second chance he had been given. For Tommy, the incident was a turning point, prompting him to reevaluate his choices and responsibilities. The city, still buzzing from the events, felt a renewed sense of community. It was as if the shared experience had drawn people closer, reminding them of their interconnectedness. The festival resumed in the following days, but with a newfound spirit of gratitude and camaraderie. People greeted each other with smiles and nods, sharing a silent understanding of the miracle they had witnessed together. Maria Martinez played a crucial role in the aftermath as well, her calm and efficient coordination with festival medics ensuring that any potential injuries were swiftly attended to. Her actions, though less conspicuous, were no less significant. Together with Jesus, she represented the quiet strength and resilience that lay at the heart of the community. As the days passed, The story of the motorbike incident continued to ripple through the city, reaching even those who had not been present at the festival. It became a symbol of hope, a reminder of the power of courage and quick action in the face of danger. The city embraced the narrative, using it as a foundation to foster a stronger, more connected community. In the weeks that followed, Jesus received numerous invitations to speak at events and community gatherings. Although he was initially hesitant, preferring to stay out of the limelight, he eventually saw the value in sharing his story. He spoke not just about the incident itself, but about the broader themes of community, compassion, and the importance of acting with integrity. His words resonated with audiences, inspiring many to reflect on their roles within their own communities. The story also found its way into the digital realm, where it was shared widely on social media platforms. Posts and videos chronicling the event amassed views and comments, with people from all over expressing their admiration and awe. The narrative transcended geographic boundaries, touching hearts far beyond the city where it had occurred. In the end, the incident was far more than a story of a motorbike gone astray. It was a testament to the human spirit, an enduring reminder of the impact one person can have when they act with courage and conviction. The legacy of that day lingered in the hearts of many, a shining example of hope and heroism in the face of adversity. As the story of that unbelievable day in Austin unfolded, it became more than just a moment frozen in time. It turned into a narrative that echoed through the hearts of everyone who witnessed it. The festival had resumed, and people slowly returned to their routines, yet an air of awe lingered. The miraculous event had sparked conversations throughout the city, becoming a beacon of hope and a testament to human courage. In the aftermath, Jesus Martinez, the humble mechanic who had stopped the runaway motorbike with his bare hands, found himself in the spotlight. Initially overwhelmed by the attention, he quickly realized that this was an opportunity to share something beyond his extraordinary feat. It was about the spirit of humanity and the strength we all carry within us, waiting to be unleashed in moments of dire need. As he stood amidst the crowd, now a symbol of bravery, he was reminded of the community's heartbeat, the pulse that connected them all, urging them toward compassion and understanding. Meanwhile, Tommy Parker, the young daredevil whose actions had inadvertently set the stage for this miracle, was undergoing his own transformation. Realizing the gravity of what had transpired, he felt a profound sense of responsibility. The incident was a turning point for Tommy, urging him to channel his love for thrills and speed into something positive. He began to see his talent not as a means to show off, but as a gift he could use to inspire and educate others about safety and responsibility. Back at home, Jesus and Maria Martinez sat together, reflecting on the day's events. Their conversation was filled with gratitude, not just for the miraculous outcome, but for the reminder of how precious life is. Maria, with her nurturing wisdom, emphasized how the incident underscored the importance of community. They spoke about how their lives, intertwined with those of their neighbors, created a tapestry of stories, each thread unique yet part of a greater whole. Their dialogue was a testament to their shared values, rooted in love and kindness, resonating with the ethos of the day. The story of Jesus stopping the motorbike had spread like wildfire, capturing the imagination of people far beyond the borders of Austin. It wasn't just about the physical act of halting a speeding machine, it was about the metaphorical halt to chaos, fear, and uncertainty. The narrative became a rallying cry for hope, reminding people that even in the face of daunting challenges, human spirit and courage can prevail. This tale of an ordinary man stepping up in an extraordinary way became a cherished part of the community's collective memory. For those who witnessed or heard about the incident, it was a powerful reminder of the good that resides within each of us. Stories like these serve to strengthen our faith in humanity, showing that even amidst chaos, there can be serenity and compassion. The festival, a celebration of life and culture, had been momentarily interrupted, but it resumed with renewed vigor, as if infused with the spirit of resilience and unity. As we bring this incredible story to a close, we want to extend an invitation to you, our viewers. If this tale has moved you, if it has sparked something within your heart, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Here, we share more stories of hope, courage, and the extraordinary feats of ordinary people. Your subscription helps us continue to bring these inspiring narratives to life, ensuring that the spirit of humanity shines brightly for all to see. Thank you for being a part of this journey with us. We look forward to sharing more incredible stories that remind us all of the potential for greatness within each and every one of us. Join us in this celebration of the human spirit, and together, let's keep these stories alive, spreading hope and inspiration across the globe. As we wrap up this incredible story, we want to guide you toward another video that delves into a world where miracles and unexpected events are captured on camera. Imagine moments that defy logic and leave us in awe of what is possible when the impossible becomes reality. Picture this: a serene park on a sunny afternoon, families enjoying picnics, children laughing as they fly kites, and then, out of nowhere, an unexpected event that stops everyone in their tracks. It's these kinds of extraordinary moments that remind us of the magic that can happen in everyday life. Our next recommended video will take you on a journey through an array of such miraculous occurrences. In this upcoming feature, you'll witness first-hand accounts of events that have left their mark on those who experienced them. From near-miss accidents where fate seemed to intervene, to spontaneous acts of heroism that saved lives, these stories highlight the unpredictability of life and the resilience of the human spirit. Each story is a testament to the power of quick thinking, courage, and sometimes a little bit of luck. The video showcases a variety of scenarios, from urban landscapes bustling with life to quiet rural settings where nature and humanity intersect in unexpected ways. You'll hear from individuals who, like Jesus Martinez, found themselves in situations that demanded not only bravery, but also an unshakable belief in the good that can come out of a dire situation. One tale involves a firefighter who, during a routine call, found himself saving a neighborhood from a devastating fire through a chain of events that seemed almost orchestrated by a higher power. In another, a commuter on a busy subway platform recounts the miraculous timing that saved a stranger from a potentially tragic accident. These stories are not just about the events themselves, but about the impact they have on our understanding of what it means to be human and interconnected. As you watch, you'll feel the adrenaline rush of the unexpected and the heartwarming relief when all turns out well. These narratives are filled with suspense, courage, and the unexplainable moments that make us pause and reflect on the mysteries of life. They serve as reminders that even in chaos, there is a thread of hope and resilience that binds us all. We encourage you to delve into these captivating stories and explore the depths of what it means to witness the extraordinary. As you do, consider how these moments resonate with your own experiences and the lessons they impart about compassion, bravery, and the unforeseen connections that shape our world. These tales are also a celebration of the unsung heroes among us who step up in times of crisis, often without a second thought. Their actions inspire us to look beyond ourselves and recognize the potential for greatness in the everyday. Whether it's an ordinary person doing something extraordinary or a series of events that seem guided by an unseen hand, these stories are sure to leave an indelible impression. So if you're intrigued by the wonders of the world and the power of the human spirit, be sure to check out our recommended video. It's a journey through the miraculous, the heart-stopping, and the profoundly moving, all captured on film for you to witness and ponder. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of miracles and the incredible capacity for courage and kindness in the face of adversity. Remember, life's most remarkable stories are often just around the corner, waiting to unfold when we least expect them. We look forward to sharing more with you soon. Until then, stay curious and keep believing in the power of the unbelievable. In the quiet aftermath of the festival's miraculous climax, the crowd slowly dispersed, their conversations buzzing with the events they had just witnessed. The air was still charged with an electric energy, a blend of disbelief and awe that lingered like an unspoken promise in the warm evening air. The festival lights flickered gently, casting a soft glow over the scene, as if nature itself was taking a moment to breathe, acknowledging the extraordinary turn of events. Jesus Martinez stood at the edge of the festival grounds, his heart still pounding from the adrenaline rush. The enormity of what had just transpired settled over him like a gentle tide, bringing with it a profound sense of peace. He felt a deep connection to the people around him, a shared humanity that transcended the chaos and fear of moments before. The murmurs of gratitude and astonishment swirled around him, a testament to the power of hope and the resilience of the human spirit. Maria approached him, her eyes a mixture of relief and admiration. "You did something incredible today, Jesus," she said, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "Not just for our family, but for everyone here." Her words were a balm, soothing the residual tension in his muscles. He wrapped an arm around her, drawing strength from her presence. Tommy Parker, the young daredevil whose reckless stunt had set the day's drama in motion, approached hesitantly. His face was a portrait of contrition, the bravado that usually defined him replaced by a newfound humility. "I don't know how to thank you," Tommy began, his voice shaky. "What you did, it was like something out of a dream. I promise you I'll never ride like that again." "I've learned my lesson." Jesus regarded Tommy with a steady gaze, seeing in the young man a reflection of his own past struggles and triumphs. "We all make mistakes, Tommy," Jesus said, his tone gentle but firm. "What matters is what we do afterwards. Use what you know, use your talents wisely. You have the chance to make a difference." The festival resumed its rhythm, but the atmosphere was subtly altered, infused with a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose. Strangers smiled at each other, bonds formed under the most unexpected of circumstances. Music floated through the air, its melody a reminder of the joy and resilience that defined the human experience. As the evening wore on, Jesus and Maria found a quiet spot at the edge of the festivities. The twinkling lights seemed to dance in time with the music, a backdrop to their reflections on the day's events. Maria squeezed Jesus' hand, her eyes warm with unspoken understanding. Today was about more than just stopping a bike, she mused. It was about showing what we can achieve when we act with courage and kindness. Jesus nodded, feeling the truth of her words settle into his bones. The day's events had not only closed the chapter on his past trauma, but had also opened a new one, full of possibility and hope. "It's easy to forget sometimes," Jesus replied, his voice contemplative. But today was a reminder of what really matters. Their thoughts drifted to the crowd, to the people who had come together in a moment of crisis and emerged stronger for it. The ripple effect of that unity was something they could only begin to grasp, yet its impact would resonate long after the festival lights dimmed. As the night deepened, Jesus and Maria made their way back through the festival grounds, their steps in sync with the gentle hum of life around them. The story of what had happened would spread, carried on the wings of those who had witnessed it, becoming part of the tapestry of tales that spoke to the resilience and courage of the human spirit. They paused at the edge of the crowd, turning back to take in the scene one last time. "Thank you for being here," Jesus whispered, his words carried on the breeze. The sentiment was simple, yet it held the weight of everything that had transpired. It was a testament to the power of the human spirit, a reminder of the kindness that connects us all.